Black Nationalists likes your work.
Yeah,
and wants
even
to
in
meet
my
you?
Klan days, I actually
just like what do you address that to? That really confused me because
because I think, look, when I grew up, I became very, very concerned about the heritage of my European American ancestry. I loved my people, our heritage, our traditions, our values, everything that I loved about this great. We created a great country, a great constitution. The Declaration of Independence is a great document, right?
Yeah.
And I was concerned about the existence of our people in our own country and how the country would change as we became replaced. Exactly the same thing the Palestinians were concerned about with a massive Jewish migration. The interesting thing is the same Jews that changed the demographic in Palestine, they didn't have enough Jews to replace the population, obviously, of European Americans and become the elite in America, but they definitely had enough Jews to come in. They had massive Jewish immigration in the 1890s and 200. A lot of them refugees from Russia, in a sense, because the Russians were going against the communists, and the Jews were very much overwhelmingly involved in the communist revolution in Russia.
Yeah.
Like I said, Winston Churchill talks about that very openly. So when I got involved in all this, I started thinking, that, well, yeah, I want to preserve my heritage. All people do. If you go to Turkey, Turkey's a 90% populated country by Turks.
So you think that's why Black nationalists? Because they want to be all black.
If we're all honest and if we're fair,
black. Yeah, they don't. Like my friend, he don't believe in race mixing with white people. Like I get along with him great. He likes me, but it's like I don't think he hates white people. That's the same thing. At first I was thinking this guy. Someone introduced me to Thursday. He's gonna hate white people, but he doesn't. He's just like
it's natural for people to want to preserve their heritage and their values and the composition of the country. The average Turk wants Turkey to remain Turkish. Right? The average Greek wants Greek values and
I think it'd be
so forth. The average people from India. In fact, the slogan for Gandhi, which is supposed to be a great civil rights leader, was India for Indians.
Yeah,
right?
well, lots of Asian parents I know they'll get mad if their kids are dating non-Asians because it's like they want them to be pure. I have Jewish friends whose mom got mad who was dating a non-Jewish girl. So it is, other races do this all the time.
Well, here's a good example is that when Bilzerian was attacked by Piers Morgan, like he was anti-Jewish. But what would Piers Morgan say about any white nation? Let's say America tomorrow, or any state in America, or Canada, or any European country. Imagine they passed a law that made it illegal, and you can't marry a Jewish person, where a Christian or European can't marry a Jewish person. They'd
freak out.
They'd about ready to go to war against them, right? But this is the truth of Israel.
Yeah.
And these marriage laws, they're not. People will say, well, okay, that's the religious whatever. Still, it's still discrimination on a massive level.
You can't do
but more than that,
marriage in Israel. People who don't know that.
but the real domino effect, or the real base of this thing, is actually ethnicity. It's actually genealogy. It's not really religion. Now we can prove that because there's no problem with an atheist Jew of Jewish descent immigrating to Israel. There's no problem with an atheist Jewish person marrying a religious Jewish person. There's no difficulty. There's no difficulty. The Jewish religion doesn't give a damn about that. But they do care, right, about a Jewish person marrying a non-Jewish person. In fact, Haim Saban, who was one of the Supreme Court justices in Israel, Haim Saban, he did a big, opposition, and he said the racial laws of Israel are the same kinds of laws, even maybe more stringent than the Nuremberg laws of Nazi Germany. Okay. And that's shocking.
Yes, they want to keep a pure society.
I mean, but Piers Morgan wouldn't ever say.
He would never say that.
Right, exactly. It's like, and that's where the double standards that exist. So, I mean, I don't think Zionism is ultimately good for Jews. But I do know that Zionists have a disproportionate power within the Jewish community. I mean, 80% of Jews supported Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah.
And Kamala Harris
fought so hard for their votes and got 20%.
Right. And Trump fought so hard but again,
really, it's the money.
Probably, the money,
votes,
right?
The money, yeah.
And that's a shocking thing, to think that this money power really does exist, and it does exist. So I can go to Biden, I can go to the midterm elections, I can show this overwhelming power of these. We have an oligarchy in America. We don't have a democracy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that, the way you see things are.
Yeah. So, but to talk about these things, to notice Jewish power is a legitimate issue.
I think you can't really fix it without noticing it. Again, like, I don't think you want to hate Jews, but okay, why do they completely dominate us? Why can't we question them? Here's another example. They're already talking about making anti-Semitic speech laws. They're not doing that for any other group. So anti-Semitism can really mean anything from criticizing Israel, saying they can control our governments. This talk we're having right now, they consider anti-Semitic. So they want to make it illegal. And Trump just did a speech saying he wants to protect our First Amendment. Yeah. And then the lady he appointed, Neom, whatever, she's already talking about trying to push anti-Semitism laws across the nation.
And the issue is that and again, I think there is something called Jewish supremacy. Mm-hmm. I think they have supremacy in the American media. I can prove that. Mm-hmm. Like Comcast, which runs NBC, MSNBC, all those other programs. AT&T is by Stanky. I talked about that. Disney is run by Iger. And ever since Eisner became the first Jewish head, in fact, Disney was like the last Gentile big studio holdout that was a Christian studio. And they wormed their way into the board, and then Eisner came in. And since Eisner, for the last 40 years, it's all the heads of Disney have been Jews.
Somewhere someone had a secret video saying basically to be anything high position, you have to be Jewish. Well, that's pretty wild.
I don't know if it's total, but I mean, there is this reality. And like I say, again, the idea that white supremacy, the white supremacists control everything, is insane. If there were white supremacists, they wouldn't tolerate all these movies. Yeah. When I was a kid, I went to see a movie called Little Big Man, where Dustin Hoffman was the star. And this was directed by a Jewish director named Penn. And it basically portrayed Europeans as just nothing but mass murderers and genociders. Yeah. Dustin Hoffman marries an Indian woman and have kids, and they're slaughtered in this one event. And there's no evidence that event it happened that way. But the movie starts out with a situation with these pioneers going out west with their dream, right? Mm-hmm. And they're in a small wagon train, and they're beset upon by this certain Indian tribe. Mm-hmm. And they're literally slaughtered, all of them. Yeah. And they also rape the women and the children. And the way this movie presented it, which just shows you some of the I think the endemic hatred for this, that one of the victims, Dustin with his sister is hiding out under the wagon while they're witnessing this horror going on, this massacre against the other members of the thing. Their parents are killed and all that. And the young girl, the white girl, is acting like, oh man, like, why can't I be ravaged? I want to be ravaged by these Indians. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't imagine that about Jews.